and Joe, I never had a doubt. Joe had an operation on his shoulder. I just want you to know it wasn't because of anything we did. He's in great shape. And our whip, Mr. Clyburn, you're amazing. And I am reminded often by my staff, were not for you, your wife telling you to endorse me, I wouldn't be standing there. So thank you very, very much. And also,
Nancy Pelosi is now preparing a vote on Democrats' brand new stimulus checks. Bernie Sanders is also working with lawmakers to push for the renewal of a monthly stimulus check, everybody. So you want to be sure to continue watching to never miss out on the most important stimulus news. Today, President Biden signed a bipartisan bill that aims to strengthen U.S. competitiveness.
Go to advancingAmericanFreedom.com. You'll see we spent a lot of time on it. Our organization has actually spent the better part of $10 million already in the last 4 months.
In Dr. Shah's position are often put in front of the media, and they have 12 seconds to respond to very difficult issues. And meanwhile, people are reading social media, and they're hearing this study and that study, and people say, what the hell is going on? So I hope we'll have a few minutes to get into a little bit more depth about some of the very serious issues surrounding COVID. Let me begin. And by the way, many of the questions that I'm going to ask Dr. Shah came from Facebook. We asked people to come up with, ideas that were on their minds.
Everyone, $200 bonus checks are being sent out right now to millions of Americans, and new financial assistance has been approved for low-income households. More and more people are showing their support for new inflation relief checks. And here is some big news. The New York governor has also announced that New York families on public assistance can expect an additional boost to their wallets this month to help cover back-to-school costs. The one-time payments come as inflation has tightened households' budgets across the country, making the annual shopping trip for notebooks, pencils, and backpacks a greater financial burden, particularly for low-income families. State officials begin distributing the money this week. Families on public assistance will receive $214 for each of their children. For each child of 3, families will receive $150. Public assistance provides cash to low-income families for up to 6 months who may have trouble meeting basic needs like housing. The extra help could provide some relief for families who had also benefited from the expanded child tax credit, which provided extra money to more families with children. The Rhode Island governor announced this week a one-time child tax rebate for families that will begin rolling out this fall. According to the governor, the rebate includes $250 per child for up to 3 children in a household and will automatically be sent to eligible families starting in October without any separate applications needed. Some 115,000 Rhode Island households are expected to receive the check. The governor told reporters, "Our administration is committed to targeting tax relief to Rhode Islanders as we continue to build on our state's economic momentum. Supporting parents and their children with Rhode Island's new child tax rebate is a sensible and critical way to grow our economy." The policy was established, everybody, in the 2023 fiscal year. It will be administered by the Rhode Island Division of Taxation. The move comes amid skyrocketing inflation and stubbornly high gas prices, affecting many parts of the country. And now this is awesome news, as I know many people are currently struggling with inflation, especially with the rising cost of living. The State House Speaker has also noted that the state had a budget surplus and received federal funds to help pay for the program. To be eligible, individual filers in Rhode Island must earn $100,000 or less, and joint filers must earn $200,000 or less. Additionally, each resident must have claimed at least one child under the age of 18 as a dependent by December 31st, 2021 on income taxes.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the following Joint Committee on Taxation analysis that shows that families earning $75,000 to $100,000 are 4 times more likely to have a tax hike under this bill than a tax cut.
Without objection.
Thank you. I'm proud to yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Tennessee, Mr. Kustoff.
The gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you. I thank the ranking member. Madam Speaker, I rise today in strong opposition to what the Democrats call the Inflation Reduction Act, which is really the Inflation Expansion Act. Americans are grappling with an economy in recession and the highest inflation that we've seen in 40 years. We're experiencing worker shortages, empty grocery shelves, and higher energy prices. Now congressional Democrats are doubling down on this out-of-control spending that led to this economic crisis. This package that we're voting on today will raise taxes on hardworking middle-class families. It'll authorize 87,000 new IRS agents to target individuals and small businesses. It'll reduce life-saving healthcare innovation by allowing the government to impose price controls on drugs. It'll hurt energy producers, and it'll certainly worsen inflation. I'm voting against this fundamentally flawed and defective package because families, farmers, and small businesses across West Tennessee and across the nation.
Big progress is finally being made in Congress. Over 200 members in Congress are urging House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to pass a new bill immediately. Democrats are also joining and pushing for a new way to provide inflation relief. So watch until the end to learn how to receive your stimulus checks, everybody. Americans are looking for ways to help in the form of stimulus checks to fight the high gas prices and food prices. For some, state governments are offering special tax rebates. Many states have already passed legislation that will send money to citizens. Delaware officials said that they are planning to send $300 in direct payments to taxpayers in the state. It has been announced that the payments are part of the state's plan for using $1 billion surplus at a time when inflation is rising and gas prices are high. Lawmakers said they will introduce legislation within a week. A vote could happen next month. Officials say more than a new round of stimulus could be on the way for many Americans, everybody. Now, this new bill could guarantee low-income households with monthly stimulus payments. As long as they qualify, eligible people could receive up to $1,200 in extra relief. Now, this is awesome news. And according to the Washington Post, Democratic and Republican lawmakers have held early discussions about a new round of crisis relief stimulus spending. A bill for a guaranteed income program proposed by progressive Democrats in Congress is calling for ongoing $1,200 monthly stimulus checks for adults, plus $600 for each child in the household. The program, called the Support Act, which was introduced in the U.S. by Minnesota Democratic Representatives Elon Omar and co-sponsored by Representatives Pramila Jayapal and Cori Bush. Omar said in a news release about this bill, "For too long we have prioritized endless growth while millions of people are homeless, hungry, or without health care. The crisis has laid bare these inequalities, and we have the ability to make sure everyone has their needs met." The legislation would set up a $2.5 billion grant fund that would pay for the pilot program. It would pay $1,200 monthly for adults and $600 monthly for each child in the home. Different communities would be involved in the pilot program for the first 5 years, and then the program would become available to everybody who qualifies. According to the proposed legislation, single filing adults with AGI's income of up to $75,000 and jointly filing adults with incomes of up to $150,000, and those filing as head of household with an income of up to $112,000 would be eligible for the maximum amount monthly. Now, a family of 4 or 2 children being younger than age 18 and a yearly income under $150,000 would be eligible for $3,600 a month. Now, the U.S. job market remained tight last month as employers struggled to find people to hire. The Labor Department said that the United States businesses added 390,000 jobs in May as the unemployment rate held steady at 3.6%. Job gains for March and April were revised, down by a total of 22,000 jobs.